Indian architecture has been making global news. But to have an exhibition in a country like Albania is something that definitely catches eye. We have with us the renowned architect from CP Kukreja Group, Mr. Diksha Kukreja, who happens to be the Honorary Consul General of Albania in India here in Tirana. Thank you for joining us here. And if
Thank
I
you.
may ask, what brings Indian architecture to Albania?
Well, Rishabh, I think architecture is such a bridge for as culture between nations. And I think here, the opportunity for the world to know about contemporary Indian architecture is a special moment. Of course, people around the world know about Indian architecture, but the images that come to their mind are about traditional forts, palaces, monuments. But what is happening in 21st century architecture in India is something people don't know much about. So I'm very fortunate that through the CP Kukreja Foundation for Design Excellence, we've had this opportunity where the government of Albania invited us to showcase contemporary Indian architecture. And I think people in Albania need to see that.
Well, definitely. We are looking at the architecture here, be it the Yashobhumi, which is one of its kind convention center. We held the Parliament 20 also there, and a lot of government functions also happening there. It is looked at as one of the best convention centers, and Prime Minister has also spoken about that, how after being the city of culture, city of history, Delhi can also be the city of conferences, and that's why we have Bharat Mandapam, we have Yashobhumi. So what's great about the new Indian architecture, if I ask this architect?
So I feel the way in India and what the Honorable Prime Minister in India is doing, we are fusing tradition and modernity. While we are progressing ahead by leaps and bounds as a nation for the world to look at, but we are not forgetting our heritage. So right behind you is such an important project in India, which is the Ekatma Dham, inspired by Adi Shankaracharya's teachings. This is a whole institution and a statue of Adi Shankaracharya coming up in Omkareshwar, and that's behind you, which showcases traditional Indian architecture, the craftsmanship. It's all being built in stone and designed by our firm. And the other project you're referring to is leaps and bounds in future technology, perhaps the most technologically advanced building in India today, Yashobhumi. It's the world's third largest convention center. It has the largest LED facade in the world, and so many more firsts attached to it. So it just goes to show that how Indian architecture, which is rooted in our history, inspired by our centuries-old principles of architecture, and yet we are embracing the world, we are embracing technology, and we are marching ahead. I think it's a fine example which India is also showcasing as responsible, sustainable design for the global south to take inspiration from.
Mr. Kukreja, if I can just walk with you in this auspicious exhibition that we are looking at, quite some time it's been that whenever there was an airport that was talked about, it was always Indira Gandhi International Airport in Delhi. But
Right.
in recent parts, we have seen the Bangalore Airport, the Kempegowda Airport, Terminal 2, it's one of its kind.
Yes.
The Mumbai Shivaji Airport in Mumbai, Chhatrapati Shivaji Airport, that has a new terminal, and now we are talking about the tier 2, tier 3 cities as well. I'm just looking at the Bagdogra Airport exhibition here. If we can talk more about how this would look like and what's great about this airport being.
Sure. So, Rishabh, the way Indian architecture, like I keep talking about, for me, architecture is a response to our context, response to our culture. So when we talk about the Bagdogra Airport, this is not just another glass and steel building that you see all over the world in the name of an airport, but it's something which is inspired by the mountain ranges of the Himalayas. So taking that natural element as an inspiration, I would call it the silhouette of the mountain range, is what becomes the silhouette of the terminal building. So yes, I think while we are building all this great infrastructure towards a Viksit Bharat, a new India that is emerging, I don't think we should forget contextualizing Indian architecture. And that's what I think my works speak of.
So definitely, this was the architect talking to us. Let's now talk to the diplomat that we know in you, the Honorary Consul General of Albania to India. Mr. Kukreja, if I may ask, or His Excellency, Mr. Kukreja, if I may ask, what makes India and Albania similar to each other?
Believe me, Rishabh, scratch the surface and you'll be amazed at the similarities between the two countries. the kind of respect towards our tradition that exists in Albania and India is inspiring. When you look at how in Albania they treat a guest, they call it beza. Just the way in India we call it Atithi Deva Bhava. So in both countries, guest is God. Similarly, both the countries are marching ahead. Right in India, in the early 90s, when we moved towards globalization and liberalization, the same way in Albania, they unshackled themselves from communism and became a country which is really progressing. So both the countries, small or big in scale or size, but both have the same aspirations for giving a better future for the future generations of people that live in the respective countries. And I see a lot of similarities in that, and therefore I see a lot of exchange opportunities for exchange of knowledge, inspiration, cultural inferences. There's a lot I think we can draw from each other.
Mr. Koreja, if I may just ask you, furthermore, Tirana, where we are, this is one of those few global cities where we don't have much of Indian diaspora, or for that matter, the tourists coming in. As an Honorary Consul General, how do you see the people-to-people connect going forward?
It's a very good question, Rishabh, you ask. People-to-people connect is vital for any nation, whether it has to lead to cultural exchanges, economic exchanges, or anything else. Of course, the one name that comes to everybody's mind in India when you talk about Albania is Mother Teresa, who belonged to here. My now purpose, my ambition, my mission is to bring the two countries closer, and for that there needs to be a lot of exchange, including in tourism. So I just had a meeting with the Honorable Foreign Minister here in Albania to look at how we can ease the process of visa as well for lots of Indians to come and visit here, and likewise for Albanians to come and visit India. So I think in times to come, soon you're going to see that there will be a lot of travel and exchange between people of the two nations.
Well, Mr. Koreja, thank you for giving us this time, and great to see this Indian exhibition here in Tirana. And we look forward to a better visa regime. We look forward to more people-to-people connect, given that this is city beautiful. Thank you. So here in Tirana, Rishabh Bhavin Pratap, what time is now?